And we're live. How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of No Excuses with your favorite show hosts, Aristil.
Venarian.
And Volacel, who is riddled with COVID again.
Is it actually
It
COVID
happened.
or is it just unspecified ick?
Well, it was COVID for the guy at work who came down with it immediately before me, with the exact same symptoms taking place over the exact same time period. So
Yeah,
it's
you got the
COVID.
coof again.
Yeah, it was the bat soup disease. Well, it would be the bat soup disease if everybody didn't publicly acknowledge now that it was leaked from a lab.
Well,
Even
yeah.
though that would have gotten you cancelled to suggest back when it was supposedly relevant. So yeah, it's the same as usual. It's not particularly interesting illness. It's just like a bad flu.
Yeah.
Not even
Oh,
a
yeah.
worse flu. Like I would say, probably I've had flus that are worse than both of my bouts with COVID. But it still put me out of action for a good chunk of this week. Mainly due to the fact that it reduces your energy levels down to a bare minimum that is required to get out of your chair and go to the bathroom, sort of thing. And that's about all you can manage. But yeah.
A midget.
At any rate, I have managed to show up for the show anyway through some miracle. So we will bring you the latest news and games commentary for the week. You can get involved with the show by sending us email at noexcusesvgw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvgw, or you can join us in our Discord server, which you can get to by clicking on the link provided in the show description underneath the archive on YouTube.
Yes. You two are having fun. I'm sitting here still waiting on Genshin to patch.
Well, it's Oceania.
Yeah, Oceania is not the most fun that one can have.
All right, you guys are having pain.
Well, it's not even pain. It's just slow.
That's even
It's an
worse.
ad fight. It's an ad fight, and anybody who's done like raiding in World of Warcraft knows that ad fights are always just dull after the first time.
Yeah. Well, unless you're in like LFR, in which case they become pure torture. Because no one fights the freaking ads. Anyway.
Yeah, so we are very, very slowly killing this this Water Girls ads. Oh, the Tweety Bird explodes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
As particular ones that explain. How the hell was I supposed to get out of the way at that time?
I don't know if you can. Maybe you can jump it if you time it right. I don't know. Because dashing is so inconsistent.
Sounds like it would involve like dying many times to try and figure it out.
I don't actually know how to guarantee you don't get whacked by it, other than to have a shield that helps. Please enjoy. But yeah, only certain animals can trigger the bop. I was kind of hoping that a gun can't aim that high.
Yeah, aiming upwards is not a thing in Genshin.
Well, it is for bow characters, but my gun is got a very, very short vertical range on it.
Yes. Even though it is gun and not, it should still be able to be aimed, but yeah, no. Anyway, I guess we'll just jump straight into weeks, and unfortunately, I don't really have one. My week has basically been a work hell. Yeah, I'm in the Genshin now. Hang on, let me just.
All right, we got to teleport away. At least with Oceania, the respawn time ain't very long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a work hell. Basically, it's just been like go to work, come home, fall over, maybe play a little bit of Power World or whatever else I feel like picking up at the time. I'm still enjoying Power World. It's still fun, but it is just dumb fun.
Slavery simulator.
Yeah. Sadly, they kind of oversold the sweatshop side of things. You don't really get a proper sweatshop until like endgame.
You seem so disappointed that you don't get to run a sweatshop.
I'm a little bit disappointed.
What do you think this is, Kenshi?
Yes. But yeah, you do still build a base and you like have your animals run around and do odd jobs, but for the most part, it's like a little bit of farming, a little bit of wood cutting, and they're very happy. You don't actually get the conveyor belts to chain them to until the end. Oh, great. I just finished one load of patching for Genshin and logged in, and now there's more patching. Yay!
That
Yeah.
do be how live service games work.
That do be.
We're gonna.
Oh, Aristeel's debuting his arrested by the FBI character.
You mean my badminton
Oh,
birdie?
no.
Yeah, I got the.
FBI open up.
I got the badminton birdie. That's all I could think about after somebody pointed out she looks like the birdie in badminton.
Right. It's kind of a ball with the big dress, and that's it.
I will come invade your world at some point when
Yeah. Last time I spun the gacha in there, I did get Chi-Chi. And it's like,
Oh, the most cursed character in the game.
I'm sorry.
yeah, because I'm never going to use you. You're just going into the box and staying there. I don't even know if she's any good or not. I just, it's a toddler. That is a toddler. Why?
Chi-Chi is probably the worst character on the Perm banner.
Oh, good. So putting her in the box is the correct move then.
Definitely the worst 5-star.
Yeah.
There is an entire genre of like Genshin Impact content creators on YouTube accidentally pulling Chi-Chi during a big banner.
I think, congratulations, you got the booby prize. And not the booby prize in the way that Genshin usually gives you a booby prize.
Everything has turned into the Matrix all of a sudden.
Why?
Maybe it'll contain the bubble. No.
So yeah, the only real nerdy thing this week actually was a local event which I went to last night, and that was of all things, a traveling dinner theater.
Did we do something with our officials that made a Chivo pop up?
I don't know. I didn't get one.
No. So yeah, we basically just shut the taxis down for a couple of hours, and we went and had a dinner at Faulty Towers, which was interesting.
Don't talk about the war.
We do have a guy who could speak German, and he got picked on a fair bit. But the fact that this is something that is very unique out here, it's like it's just a bunch of actors. They bought a suitcase full of props, and they basically turned the local restaurant into a show.
No, you cannot jump that. I timed that about as well as I think you can, and no, you can't.
Oh dear. So yeah, that was basically it for me. Is I just didn't do anything this week. Didn't even get to watch anything. It's been a very blah week. So, and they haven't even done any hololiving. It's just been watching clips, and that's it. So yeah, very boring week, unfortunately. There is still, of course, a bit of drama kicking around, which I've been keeping half an eye on because it amuses me. But we'll come back to that later. So I'm just going to end my week there because that's it. Of all what you've done.
Not a lot other than die of COVID. So the back end of the week was totally consumed by me dying of COVID and also with chaos at work because of the massive staff shortage that we're currently enduring. Although that's not strictly true that we're enduring a staff shortage anymore. It's more that I have aggressively been hiring and so we've got plenty of staff. It's just that half of them are useless because they're untrained.
No.
What?
Oh, I was leveling this feather for Nahida, and it rolled defense %.
Herp. But yeah, so I decided I was going to buck the trend of every other lab in the country, and I was going to hire on my own set of hiring criteria that are not everybody else's hiring criteria. And so I set as my first primary criterion needs to be reasonably good with King's English. because the hiring pool is full of internationals, and when I say it's full of internationals, I mean everybody is a foreigner. Like 95% of applicants. Many of them are not even in the country. Many of them do not actually have right to work and are planning to try and ride us to a easy visa or something. Like, I'm just tired of dealing with that crap. So, just King's English or go home. You can't speak King's English, take a hike.
Still feels very
So-
odd to say king rather than queen.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess Elizabeth II was just such a sort of an immovable figure in the lives of those of us in the Commonwealth that it's sort of very hard to adapt to a world where she's no longer in it. But
Yeah.
The thing, only people that seemed to like her more than you guys was middle-aged white women in the U.S.
I don't understand the US obsession with the monarchy. Like, I can sort of understand paying homage to the monarchy for those of us who are part of the empire still, or the Commonwealth as they call it now. But I really find it confusing, to be honest. The very strange American obsession.
You guys fought a war specifically to say that you weren't interested in the royals. Why? Anyway, I
Yeah.
don't care much for the royal family for the most part because a lot of them are just kind of.
Well, it's not about the
Yeah.
individuals mostly. Occasionally,
But-
you get a singular monarch like Elizabeth II, who
Yeah.
was, fundamentally represented a dignified expression of the monarchy.
Yeah, I
And
respect
that's
everything that
great.
she basically stood for and the role that the crown serves in our political system.
But yeah, it's about the institution, not about the people. Like, everybody thinks Charles is a bit of a twat.
I
But-
mean, he kind of is.
Yeah, but His Majesty Charles III is an important figure in the way our political entity operates. And so, you've got to pay a certain amount of respect to that.
Hmm.
But yeah, so basically I decided I was going to set as a fundamental and inescapable sort of benchmark. Your English needs to be acceptable to me before I will even think about your other qualifications. And it doesn't matter how good those qualifications might be. If your English is subpar, you will not be considered.
If we
And
can't communicate, there's no point in you being here.
that really dramatically culled the field.
Wow.
The problem is that Eurofins, being a European company, fundamentally, is all up in the ESG. And as a result of my King's English policy, I've only hired white people.
Okay.
Which makes me wonder if I'm going to get fired because I'm tanking the ESG score by not being diverse enough.
Maybe. But I mean, what do you want? You want to have the diversity, or do you want to have qualified people? You can't really have both.
Well, the thing is that's the active question, right? There are lots and lots of people for whom the actual work is not really a concern that they care very much about, who would say diversity without missing a beat.
Yeah.
Because diversity is its own industry.
Yes. But,
So
it's
yeah,
not-
it's
yeah. Anyway.
I've hired a bunch of effectively grads, and grads are a bit of a crapshoot. So you've got to work very hard to pick ones of good character. But I also, being a patriot, I want to give New Zealanders, like Kiwis just out of school, the opportunity to get their first job without having to compete against the entire planet.
Mm-hmm.
And compete against people who, in my opinion, are less qualified due to their inability to speak the lingua franca. But it doesn't seem that anybody else hires on this basis. So, there's lots and lots of people around who basically can't speak the language, nevertheless get employed, they get their visa, they shoot through.
They disappear. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not particularly thrilled that this is apparently sort of like the acceptable standard these days. Is that, oh, well, you just hire these people because they worked in a lab in India or whatever, and then when they've got their visa, they go and you hire another one who repeats the process. So this is really a way to get forward momentum in your sort of like intellectual resources of your company, because it seems to me like you're just wasting everybody's time.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've got a whole bunch of newbies floating around now who they're doing their best from what I can tell, but a lot of them are still a little bit clueless. So even though I've got the numbers up at work, the brain trust is still looking a little bit saggy. So
That's fine. You can teach job skills when you can communicate.
yeah, that's what I'm banking on, is that I'll be able to upskill them quickly, because number one, they aren't married to some previous work locations ways of doing things, and number two, I can, clearly and accurately communicate the skills that I need to communicate instead of having to go through a language barrier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, things are ticking along at work despite the pitfalls of the way things have been over the past few months, with lots of resignations and so on. But yeah, so back half of the week is mainly consumed by that. Front half of the week, chaos at work. I know I wasn't sick yet, so the week was looking a lot rosier at the start than it did toward the end. Nevertheless, so I, with Ari's help, managed to finally clear out all the Geoculuses in Liyue, so I can make sort of like a clean break with the zone. Because the main reason I couldn't bring myself to move forward was the Geoculus is hanging over me. It was like, well, they're still there, waiting for me. What do I do? What do I do? The Geoculuses. Oh my goodness, I hate these explosive balls. Just the worst kind of garbage.
I was all the way on the other end, didn't dodge it. So I think you just got it by some miracle.
Is it particular types, or can any type randomly decide it's going to pop?
I know the frogs can drop one, and I know the tubby birds can drop one. The cranes don't seem to be able to. And the birds in the air don't seem to be able to. But the fat ones seem to always drop one. Like, I don't think these guys will drop one. I don't think the cranes in the back will drop one. Oh right, Hyperbloom hurts you too, or not Hyperbloom, Bloom explosions do.
That's rather. That's a good thing to know about ahead of time.
Oh my goodness, I still got tagged by that, and I could not be any closer to the edge of the arena.
Yeah,
Diagonally, no less. Are you supposed to kite them over to the edge before you pop them or something?
Maybe,
I don't know.
But that seems like an awful lot of work when we can just use the Healy statue.
You only got so much juice in the Healy statue, though, don't you?
Yeah, we have exhausted it before. It's been a bit since we exhausted it, I think, but I like how these guys are made of water, so they just drop blooms everywhere.
No, I've got to use fragile resin.
Ack! Oh no.
Barbara needs levels.
But
badly.
yeah, I pulled up the interactive map and helped Vol with lawn mowing. Speaking of thing being out of juice, I think we did it.
Somehow, Aristeal knew where all the ones I'd missed were, even though I was only missing about 11. So he was able to find ones I'd missed almost as fast as I could find them using the actual Finder item that you can build in game. So
yeah, is there an actual thing, like, can you use your Finder item in somebody else's world to find theirs?
No.
Once you've made them, you can use them in your world, but you can't use them somewhere else.
Okay.
He can't interact with, other than visually perceiving the Geoculuses in my world, he can't interact with them in any way.
Yeah, it's just my lawn mowing skills. I've played many Metroidvanias. Lawn mowing is probably at the top of my skillometer.
But yeah, so that's done anyway. I can make a clean break with it and move on with the story at long last. At any rate, so
And get mad at bubbles.
the day, yeah, I got really mad at those bubbles. It turned out the trick to them was to build up a certain number of tiles of grace in between the front of them falling off. So if you are standing on non-collapsible ground at the time that a tile collapses, it will not continue collapsing to the next one. So you need to run off a tile and into an alcove before the tile that you were previously on diagonally, back from the one the alcove you're in. You have to run off of the tile before it falls onto the next tile and then into the alcove before the first of the two tiles that you've touched at that point falls, and in which case it will just stop falling, which is a nonsensical mechanic, and there's no way of perceiving this without falling down the hole many times. So overall, a terribly designed puzzle, since it requires metagaming game design jank in order to solve the problem. It's like
that's never good.
It's not actually solvable by in-game logic, only solvable by design jank.
They start moving away really hard from the domain gimmicks as time goes on. A few of them show up in Inazuma that are mazes, but they're traditional puzzle mazes. There's no execution required to them, just remembering where you've been. And after that, they almost seem to drop the concept of domains entirely. There's like a few in Sumeru, but most of the stuff is in caves, because oh boy does Sumeru like its caves. So you won't have to worry about bubbles in the future.
Freaking bubbles.
Bubbles.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to abandoning entirely Bubble Land. At any rate, moving on with the story. Don't know where it's going. We'll have to wait and see. I moved on with a little bit in the story on Honkai Star Rail as well. So I've moved on to the next world, which is an interesting setting. It's basically a world ship of sorts. It's an Eldar craft world, and everybody who lives on it is an Eldar. That's not really true. It's a giant spaceship. Apparently, they've got like the faction in question has like 3 of these, and they all live on these giant spaceships. And they're essentially all very long-lived races, with the most short-lived being the Foxians, who seem to live for. It's sort of hard to tell. Maybe their standard lifespan is sort of like the absolute limit of a human lifespan, all the way up to individuals that live for thousands of years and individuals that live indefinitely, but they die periodically and reincarnate. So they've got a very bizarre society because nobody dies with any regularity. So yeah, it's an interesting little niche setting there, and it's not really clear where the story is going, since most of the time so far in the story I've been negotiating around the fact that nobody wants me to be involved in anything. So
why are you here?
Essentially, yeah. You literally get asked why are you here multiple times in the first hour you spend there. So
that's helpful.
So yeah, it's certainly interesting. I like the way everything is presented in Star Rail, so I'm enjoying my time with it. It's just a matter of pushing forward. The new world in that game, Penacony, is going to be coming out soon, and I'm miles behind the curve on that. So I'm still sort of wrestling with the idea of where do I put my time? Do I push forward with Star Rail because I like the story and the presentation and the aesthetics better? Or do I push forward with Genshin simply on the weight of the fact that Genshin has co-op, and that's basically all that it's got going for it, really? because I find the whole exploration thing to be as dangerous as it is interesting.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I basically have to teach. I have to basically have to take Ari's word on it that Dragonspine is the worst that it's going to get, because I hated Dragonspine, every particle of it. Nothing about it was good in my opinion. It was just bad,
yeah.
and it's
Oh.
behind me now. But I hated it.
Unfortunately, the main story ain't going to hold you over much in Inazuma because it doesn't exist.
Oh, great.
But my homelessness.
You do kill a whole lot of hobos.
What?
Yeah, Inazuma ain't got the best infrastructure. Have you not been here for these discussions?
I kind of have, but this hasn't been the first time we've. Well, this is the first time I've heard about hobo murder.
So the population of Inazuma is contained within some mud huts on the last island, the capital city on the first island, and a rando village on the first island that's just like a farming town. And that's it for civilization, if you don't count the military bases. Everybody else is homeless. The Hilichurls have more shelter than they do.
Huh.
You can see this because Hilichurls will build better shelter and Hilichurl huts around them.
Oh dear. Oh, hang on. I just triggered a thing, and I also see a tree with weird things flying around it. There's a lot of stuff just to find in this game, and it's great.
I do like
But
the explory bits.
what have I actually found? Oh, one of these stupid things. One of the Eye of the Storms.
Oh.
I'm putting myself in mortal peril in order to ensure that you remain in a state of being able to generate lots of ammo in the hopes that it will pay off.
Oh, not if I miss.
Please don't miss.
Yeah, I'm for those of you that have been following my exploits for a while, you may remember I used to play League of Legends a lot.
Yes.
And Ibu pointed this out to me, that my Navi is basically crit Gangplank.
Oranges.
Yeah, like she will do the big kaboom when she gets her ammo going. And oh, I didn't think this through.
Mistakes were made.
I brought Barbara.
Yeah, I was
Barbara
like, where's
can't fix it.
Nahida? It would have been a lot faster if we were able to cause all of these reactions to bleed the way Nahida can make reactions bleed over.
This one's gonna
Very
bomb.
efficient. There's nowhere for me to run. I fell in the water.
Yeah, I forgot to pull the badminton back out.
Yeah, I just looked at her banner, and yeah, I can see where you're going with that.
Oh yeah.
She's a shuttlecock.
Oh, that's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
An unfortunate name.
Very unfortunate name.
Now you ruined it. It was funny when it was called. I thought it was called a birdie. No, it's called a shuttlecock.
It's also known as a birdie.
Okay, I'm gonna keep calling it the birdie.
I've never heard of it being called a birdie before.
I've heard it called a birdie a couple of times.
I was extremely confused when Ari kept calling it that.
I think it's just called a birdie by people who refuse to call it a shuttlecock.
Okay, if I get really, really far back with Navia, the top piece of shrapnel can clip him.
I get the feeling that you're supposed to just bring a Geo.
Yeah.
And
just bring
water
it
shield.
here.
Because you're always going to get water shields available because everything has water has hydro permanently affecting it. So I'm pretty sure that that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to avoid it. Half the time the platform is not big enough to avoid it. So
Yeah.
is that enough to level up? Bruh.
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 Yeah.
I've gotten Barbara up 30 levels.
She up to 70.
As soon as I attach these books, she will be. Books that were granted to me by my unfortunate decision to buy the battle pass.
Why do you do these things?
I did it too. It was so much more. You don't understand. It's like when you hit the level 80, 90 bracket and you're still constantly leveling up your batch of main characters, you just don't have any money. You're broke.
That's how they get you.
It is how they get you.
Yeah, so that's been an ongoing struggle against the Gacha Beast. I also got the battle pass for Star Rail. Mainly, I got the battle pass. I got the battle pass for Genshin out of sheer frustration. I got the battle pass for Star Rail because I actually genuinely like the game, which I think is a better reason. Generally,
That's a much better reason.
Aristeal, I need to bully a child.
What?
Okay, we can go.
Oh, right.
We can go bully a child.
What was another unfortunate name?
His name's like Childe, or I think if you pronounce
Yeah,
it
it's-
correctly.
Day or something like that, but yeah.
But no, we need to go beat up a child.
You're just
Oh.
beating up a child at this point.
We can take some childs to go beat up a child.
Speaking of, I think I'm about ready to pull on the banner, and I got to decide which banner I want to pull on.
So here's the deal with these banners. Xiang Yun is an enabler for plunging attacks and is okay by herself and really good for exploration. Because she has a triple jump. But she is...
Aristeal is personally biased against her.
I don't like her as a character. And unless you really just want to be all in on the plunging attacks, she's a little rough. Nahida has a different problem for you, in that Nahida requires you to have some other character already ready to work for her. For me, that's Keqing.
Nahida is essentially a god tier enabler of the things that the other top characters do.
Yeah.
Like, she turns extremely good characters into god characters as long as she's around. She's like an ultimate support and an ultimate offensive support.
Yeah, she can do a little bit of generic support, but her stick is... She has sticky Dendro, basically. She applies Dendro to the target, and that Dendro effect will stick. And they will just keep on pooping out cores.
Okay.
Because every time a Dendro reaction happens, they'll trigger Dendro again on themselves. So they basically have permanent Dendro affliction.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing has a 5-second cooldown and lasts for 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's permanent. So, yeah, I don't have a Dendro character, but I don't really have anyone for her to support either.
Yeah, she is powerful, but she is not... Uh-oh.
She's not so great on the front line?
No, she is awful as a frontliner. Where are my fried eggs?
Driver. But
fried eggs.
Yeah, also there's the whole I don't want to go to jail side of things.
Prison's just a room.
Yeah, but it's a room without Genshin in it.
Prison is just a room as the sentence that follows age is just a number.
Yeah.
Oh, put us in the Matrix.
Was that enough gems in order to do the pull? Let me see. Might be. No, not quite.
So, given your position in the game, it is probably better to pull for Cloud Retainer than Nahida, just because I have Keqing, which is why I pulled for Nahida fairly safely, because I can make a very competent Hyper Bloom team with her as a driver. We might die.
We might
bring in.
I was sort of assuming you would be able to close out the battle right quick.
Yeah, there was a slight problem. I didn't have any ammo.
You need ammo.
I'm playing hopscotch.
Need a dispenser here.
Yeah, there's. I could pull on one of the banners and see what characters you get, because the odds of getting the 5 stars are pretty low as it is.
We
so.
done got narwhaled.
Oh,
Narwhal?
Nahida.
Narwhal.
Oh, it's all you. I believe in you.
Are you kidding?
So that's the other thing with Dendro.
Now that
Dendro.
you're dead, can I pause or not?
No. You just gotta
Because I can't heal if I can't pause.
You just gotta believe in Oz.
But this guy's lightning, isn't he?
Yeah, but his resistance only seemed it's pretty high.
It's doing damage. It's doing non-zero damage. I need stamina.
Oh, there's another Animus over there.
Yeah, so that's the other thing with Dendro. Dendro reactions are very isolated within themselves. They're like they're kind of like they don't interact with the other elements in the same ways that the non-Dendro reactions do. So if you've got Dendro going, Dendro reactions will stop you from being able to use Geo stuff entirely. So the Nahida team is I can't use Navia on it, and I can't really bring her with Vols Ningguang either. She is there for just having a different type of team for when Geo won't work.
Right.
You do realize this guy's 10 levels higher than me, right?
It's okay. I just saw an ult crit there. You're making progress.
I can't hit him most of the time.
You're making progress.
I have to be at the right distance to get the homing to latch on.
Okay.
Where are you, you little ghosty thing? Come here.
That said, the Dendro reactions are all stupidly powerful, but you also need to have the Wikipedia page open when you're figuring out what they do.
No, they're not immediately obvious.
No,
Oh dear.
not at all.
No, they're like things like melt and that they're self-explanatory. Everybody knows that heat melts ice, but
Yes.
it's not quite as conventional for Dendro at all.
Like fire on Dendro would make sense as a combination, and that one you could probably figure out. But how would like lightning and Dendro work?
So you get the quicken, aggravate, and spread mechanic with lightning. I don't have time to go over the ridiculous Wikipedia nature of all that and what order is best when. But
Oh,
the TLDR is you want to apply Dendro first.
fair enough.
And then the big thing Dendro does is anything afflicted by Dendro that's hit by Hydro will pop out a little blossom on
Yeah,
the
that
ground.
makes sense.
And if it stays around, it'll blow up and do a little bit of AoE damage. And that can also hurt you, by the way. And,
That's less helpful.
and but you can switch these things to be far more powerful for yourself by hitting them with fire or electricity. If you hit them with electricity, the blooms turn into homing missiles, and you get hyper bloom, and they do a ton of damage, just base damage. For some reason, the numbers on hyper bloom are stupidly high, and that's the team I'm trying to make right now with Nahida. Or you can use a fire character and try and get some Burgeon going, which comes with a dot and a little bit of fire explosion. But generally, those teams aren't considered very good just because Hyper Bloom exists, and why would you do Burgeon when you got Hyper Bloom? So,
Yep.
So yeah, Dendro just totally shuffles the mechanic, and anything afflicted by Dendro cannot crystallize. It just won't. So you cannot.
Okay.
You can't get Geo shields from stuff afflicted by Dendro, and you need a driver of some kind for whatever type of Dendro team you're planning to make. Usually a lightning character. For me, I got catching to do that. And
Actually, are there any good Dendro drivers at the moment?
the best.
That's not really what Dendro's for. Really.
Yeah, the Dendro, you just want to apply the status. It's like Hydro.
I'd say it's more like Anemo.
Yeah.
It's like the inverse Anemo. Like in the case of Dendro, you want to prepare the field with Dendro up front, and then use the other characters to play off of that. In the case of Anemo, you need the other characters to prepare the field up front, and the Anemo one is the one that will kick off all the reactions.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm using Traveler at the moment. Is like I'll get fire and lightning out, and then bring out Traveler and swirl it all around.
Yeah, and that works. Well, Traveler's really, really bad, but
Well, yeah,
that's
Well, you go
actually,
to war with the army you've got, you know.
yeah.
yeah.
That said, Traveler is probably one of the top 3 Dendro
It's
applicators.
sort of hard to say because Dendro is a sort of a nascent element as far as game development goes,
Yeah,
and it's sort of not really clear exactly if they're ever going to branch out beyond their current role in the various teams. So it's I don't know. It's if it's with that Traveler is good, or if it's that Traveler is serviceable and is the only Dendro most people have.
yeah, because your options for reliable Dendro application are like, I think there's one more, but the ones that everybody talks about are Traveler, because Traveler's available to everybody, and with enough energy recharge, you can keep that burst going and applying Dendro.
Yep.
And Nahida,
And
because infinite Dendro on her skill.
It's like
yeah,
I don't know. It seems to me that like Dendro Traveler is like Soraka in League of Legends. It's like definitely usable if you like abusing people with bananas. Can miraculously save a team when she's in the mood. Can definitely be played to an extremely high level by somebody who is adept at doing it. But basically, the only reason people think that she's good is because everybody's got her, and every
yeah.
other support is better.
Yeah,
That is named Karma.
the badminton does have one utility that shines above everything, though. Her skill, when you hold it, you go into aim mode, and she does like she's taking a picture. Any just stray crap that isn't a monster drop lying on the ground, you can just have her hover over like 5 or 6 things and have them pick them all up. And this includes things
That's
like
handy.
the mushes in Mondstadt after I don't need them anymore.
Yeah, that figures.
And I guess that also prevents you from accidentally cooking repeatedly.
Not if there's monster drops. You can't grab monster drops.
Oh,
It has to
Yeah,
be
still gotta cook.
It has to be a naturally occurring item in the world. So like your mints or your mushes or your sunsetias or your apples or your miscellaneous local specialties that are just laying around. You can grab all those, but you can't grab monster drops.
anyway, so I was actually talking about my week, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
But I don't think I've got much else to say. I'm just sort of wrestling with that internal problem of do I want to play Star Rail or do I want to play Genshin? Because both of them are pretty solid. I think Genshin annoys me more because, well, it seems from what Ari says that I'm just in sort of like the doldrums of their not really knowing how to do development sort of
They
period, where every idea that they've got, whether it's good or bad, gets jammed in just the same.
Yeah. Uh, the for those that have not been, well, that would be everybody. I've been telling Vol about my progress as I've been going through the game, and in Mondstadt and Liyue, they're clearly experimenting and maybe making progress. It's kind of it looks a little iffy. It takes until Inazuma for them to really start finding their feet with the gameplay, and Sumeru for them to start finding their feet with the story. Because Inazuma, they got the gameplay right for Inazuma for the most part. There's a there's a couple wiggles about the control with Spider-Manning that takes some getting used to, but other than that, Inazuma's gameplay is generally okay all around, just really good. And then, but the main story is non-existent. Like they clearly had something happen during Koof, because there will be a black cutaway halfway through that says, and then you spent 2 weeks as the captain of the resistance or whatever, and it cuts back forward, and you're now supposed to be attached to all these characters you met 10 seconds ago. Like a whole section of the story just got cut for time. So it takes until Sumeru for them to really pick it up, but I'll save talking about that for when we get to my week.
Sure. All right. Okay, there we go. I got enough for a pull now. I guess I'll pull on Zhang Yun's banner.
Yeah.
Because I don't really want the shuttlecock.
You're
I
not
mean,
really
yeah, I do.
obliged to pull, you know.
Oh,
I mean,
yes, I am.
I mean, I guess you're doing it for the content, but
I'm partly doing it for the content and partly doing it because I really just don't have a whole lot of. Well, I don't have any 4 or 5-star characters at the moment.
that's not going to get fixed by pulling on the gacha usually.
Usually, no. So let's hit this and see what I got.
I think Xianyun was just going to generally be a good exploratory aid. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can glide off of her triple jump.
I have to try it. Sword, bow, book, sword, claymore, I guess. And Noelle. Okay, I already had Noelle. She's 4-star. But everyone's got Noelle.
That's another constellation for Noelle.
There's a constellation for Noelle.
I don't
And
know
the rest of it's just rubbish. All 1-star weapons and just rubbish.
Noelle, what
Well,
even
3-star.
is your constellation?
Sweeping Tide and Breastplate together will max out the chance of activating healing. So it basically turns Noelle into a whatchamacallit, a reliable healer while her ult is active.
So that's different.
I've used her in that capacity before because my Barbara was level 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was aside from getting a constellation Noelle, I guess that was pretty disappointing.
That is pretty much your standard pattern expectation Genshin pull right there.
Yeah.
Welcome to Gacha.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're ever unfortunate enough to drag her all the way to C6, she becomes an extremely competent DPS.
Yeah.
That can also heal and has a shield.
She basically becomes an indestructible wall of steel that deals out massive damage to anything that's not invulnerable to Geo.
See, half of Liyue. Do you need to get Barbara some gear now, or do you want to keep trying to level her up?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out exactly what is regarded as good gear for Barbara versus what I think is good gear for Barbara. But unfortunately, I keep getting drowned in DPS Barbara sets. Like, I don't love her that much that I want to play DPS Barbara. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure everybody runs Maiden's Beloved for support though, because it's just such an obvious pick.
Yeah, there's that one. The only problem with that set is all the overhealing doesn't really do anything. But you can translate the overhealing from Song of Days Past and the Geodomain into something usable by steroiding your other characters.
Yeah, I currently have 4-piece Song of Days Past on it, but I did that just for the
healing bonus.
The bonuses, because the actual pieces that I've got slotted are not good.
Yeah, so we can.
I've got a decent cup. I think it's a decent cup. I've got a Song of Days Past cup with HP as the primary stat. I think she scales of HP, right?
Yep. She wants all the HP.
And the hat is purple but has healing bonus.
Yeah, I have a Thunder Soother's Diadem that has healing bonus that's orange.
Is it better to stack healing bonus or to stack HP? Probably HP is better in total, I would guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Considering my Barbara's propensity to get killed in one hit.
Yeah, Barbara is very squish. That is a really good feather I got for Barbara.
I don't even know what domain Maiden's Beloved is in anyway, let alone the other ones.
Ooh, the feather got HP percent.
Set bonus Maiden's what? What's the 4P?
It's just it heals more.
Heal more good.
Yeah, just heal more good. But once her HP gets high enough, she's gonna full heal the party with her burst anyway, and her skill's already gonna do a ton. So yeah, so we're working on your Barbara right now, so that you have a way to stay out in the field without needing to rely.
Having to put prototype Amber on Ningguang, which is not exactly the most logical combination.
Yeah, because that crit rate's no joke on that Solar Pearl you got.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of my damage is coming from crits at this point.
Yeah, and it will as you start gearing characters with better and better artifacts, because crit damage is so good.
Well, you say that, but apparently if I decide to go the route that I've sort of speculatively decided on, which is to roll on Yaimiko's banner for more Ningguangs, many more Ningguangs. And if I do get Yaimiko, the Yaimiko official Ningguang trio strongly favors Archaic Petra, which is what I've already got. So it would just, at that point, it would just be a case of if I want to fish for better secondary stats, and I don't know if I want to open that can of worms.
Yeah, that's a nasty can of worms. Where I only open that can of worms when a character just ain't working because it rolled really bad. But at least you're able to make progress now.
It's true. I'm not getting constantly trashed by everything anymore. But I'm also still in world level 5. I'm adventure rank 50 and I can upgrade it, but I'm pretty sure that without having a Barbara chambered and ready to heal, I'm just gonna get trashed if I move my world level up.
Yeah,
again.
it's just
Though as things keep going, the difference between each world level sort of shrinks the more powerful my characters get.
Yeah,
Because I'm not dealing with a situation where I'm moving from doing all of the damage to doing none of the damage.
Yeah, once every world level bump I did after 5 and 6, it was a very smooth bump. There was a little bit of one from 7 to 8 where it was noticeable, but that's just because all my enemy levels are now 93. So yeah, that'll put a damper on your damage. But
yeah, I don't know if anybody's really clearly assessed a lot of those new sets. It doesn't really seem like most of the guides online take them into account.
Yeah, most of the guides are written older, and right now the people that they rely on to do the breakdowns, all the Chinese players. Yeah,
all of the eastern side are boycotting the game, and all of the western side are engaged in drama at the moment.
Yeah, it's Genshin's having a rough time right now. TLDR, Hoyo, see your Star Rail team and give us better payouts for our crap, please.
Yeah, apparently the entire leadership structure of the Star Rail team is just under a totally different guy. And he basically pillages the Genshin team for any good ideas and then puts them in his own game.
So yeah,
I guess if it works.
All right. So you got anything else for your week?
I don't think so. It has not been a particularly busy week for me in terms of gaming, only in terms of suffering.
All right. This will probably be a shorter show because we don't have much news either. As I say that every time we say that.
Yeah, we say that every time, and it ends up being some sort of rambling disaster.
Yeah. So I do need to hit up that domain up there in Fontaine for that set.
I'm fine with that. I need domains for my weeklies.
For Navia. This is the one with the random elemental guys, right?
Yeah, it's the one for some reason my plea does work.
Yeah, and this is the one I bring Barbara in so we can. Yep, I remember now. Okay. Okay, I need you to open it.
Hold on, I'm just looking for where the hell it is on the map because I can't remember. It's off of that sticky uppy bit.
Yeah, my player 2 icon might be hanging over it. There we go. So yeah, you are phasing through the ground in a constant falling animation. There you go.
That do be how it goes sometimes.
You popped out now. So yeah, all right. I guess we'll start my week. So I'm trying to think of what my week actually entailed. It didn't. Not a whole lot happened because I came home tired a bunch of days this week. It was a bunch of just random minor non-emergencies that kept happening. Like, oh, how do I put this? Like, just customers being dumb, basically. Like, I got a phone call from Ponce de Leon that, oh no, none of the pumps we bought work. Like, what do you mean they don't work? Well, they don't work. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to get in contact with On-Site Mechanical and get them out there. And, I'm sitting there talking with Nick, trying to get him out there, and he's swamped right now because it's start of the year, and people are starting to get their groove back together. And yeah, it's just been a mess with just little tiny. I need to get people places, or I need to get status updates on things. I used both of my shots and did not manage my bullets. There we go. But yeah, so work has just been a mess. I've been coming home tired, not exhausted, just kind of, what's a good way to put it? Not bled. Bled is wrong.
Just drained.
I'm not even sure drained is the right word. Just kind of like a more of an angry just a general frustration with people. Ooh, that's an HP percent goblet with Ellie Mastery and crit damage. I'll lock that.
It's atrocious flower and a terrible hat.
That hat's substats are awful.
That hat's primary stat is awful. Crit damage on a healing hat.
Got crit damage
It's
on
not how you do.
I got crit damage on the Geo hat with defense HP percent, flat attack, and HP flat. Oops, I accidentally pressed the button to leave the domain. But yeah, so work has just been a mess. On Thursday, I had to go on an adventure. So I left work early. And this was a pain in the butt because I have the public notary status for my company for signing miscellaneous documents, and I need to keep it going. And it expires on the 5th of February this year. So I needed to get it renewed. And to get it renewed in the state of Georgia, you've got to go to the courthouse. And you've got to wait in line. A very long line. Come on, Barbara, get it. Get that shield gone. Do it, girlfriend. There we go. And yeah, it is just a pain in the butt. So I showed up there a few days ago, actually. And was like, okay, I'm here. What do you need from me? I looked it up. It didn't say I needed anything. This was wrong, of course, because government. And they're like, oh, you need this form and that form and this other form, and you need to get them online and fill them out. I'm like, oh, okay. You got a computer around here I can use? No. Okay. Can I fill them out on my phone or download them on my phone, then print them here and then hand them to you? No. Okay.
No. Just no.
Just no.
Just no. Just no.
So yeah, had to drag my tail all the way back to the office and then get that stuff together and take it back up there another day, which was Thursday. And so first I went to get a haircut because I desperately needed one. And this took time. And there was no line at the haircut place, but I got the slowest girl there in the world. So yeah, that took a while. And then on my way to the courthouse, in the US, you need to do something called getting your emissions done, which means you have to go have them stick a little thing on your gas cap and stick a little thing on the computer inside your car, and it's going to spit out your carbon emissions for however many miles you've driven that year. And you need this in order to get your registration. That's awful. That's awful. Yeah, that's all trash.
It's still grist for the mill at best.
Yep. So yeah. Oh, dang it. I'm so used to auto leaving. But yeah. So that happened. And I had to sit in line there were 4 cars in front of me at fast emissions, because that's the name of this business. And was there for 50 minutes. But they're only $20. So I sat there in line and very slowly worked my way through that line. We are now an hour and a half into my adventure, and we barely have got started. Then I had to get to the courthouse. The courthouse is 40 minutes away. So got to the courthouse and thankfully had everything and managed to get through after waiting in line there. That we are now 2.5 to 3 hours into my journey. And so I leave the courthouse and I'm like, okay, my stamp is expiring on the 5th. I need to go get a stamp. And you can't just, order a notary stamp at the courthouse because of course you can't. You have to go to an office supply store to get them. So the only Staples I knew was down by the Mall of Georgia. And that meant I had to drive through Mall of Georgia traffic at right when school was letting out. And that was awful. And I was stuck there for like an hour and a half getting to Staples. I got to Staples, and the lady behind the counter was about 800 pounds, with super messy dreadlocks and fake fingernails so long they curled around to the tips, past the tips of her fingers, onto the pads of her, or the top of all of her fingers. It was horrifying.
I hate that.
And I handed her partner, the dude there. He was okay, but he was helping another customer. My thing, and he went and scanned it, my little notary certificate, because you have to take the actual certificate there. You can't just give him a copy. And we put together. We got that going, and she is very slowly with these giant nails chicken pecking my information into the print machine.
Wait, are you saying that you can't use a notarized copy of a certificate to get a notary stamp?
No, you have to use the one that they give you at the...
Does your country just use the most asinine standards conceivable for everything that they do?
The notary stuff is special for my case because that's county. And my county has... The reason is I can't say on the internet.
I see.
A certain type of individual got elected to literally every single position. And I'll leave it at that. So yeah. They just made this process as big a pain but as possible. We are now almost 5 hours into the road trip. Yeah, I actually managed my bullets for once. So yeah, that after I got the stupid stamp ordered, because they can't just print it there, they gotta have it custom ordered. So it's gotta come in the mail in 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, now I gotta go get the tag for my car and renew my registration. So I went to the tag office. And this may seem like the world's... That is a physical damage bonus thing. I couldn't see the other one.
Congratulations. Great end user license agreement.
Yep. Yeah, so I had to sit through the not as bad as the DMV, like the mini DMV of the tag office, to get to the kiosk inside, because I don't need to talk to somebody at the counter to do this. They have a little kiosk by the door, if you can make it past the door where there's a line, to just punch in your information and scan your driver's license, and it'll spit out your registration tag, and you just stick it on your car.
We don't actually use those anymore. We used to have the tags, registration tags you put in the windscreen, but yeah, they went away around the time that digital licensing became a thing.
Oh, we still use those, except that I just go online and ask for one, and they send it to me in the mail. There's no going to the offices.
You don't need to go to the office to pay your registration. You just do it all online, which reminds me, I've actually got to pay mine.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah, I've got to take my car in for a warrant as well. I keep forgetting to do it because I'm always so busy.
Actually, I probably should do that now while I think of it. Otherwise, I'm just going to forget again. But yeah, the registration in the window is just not a thing here anymore. It's just someone that actually had a genuine good idea at the transport department and just got rid of it all.
Yeah, the over here you don't put them in your window. You put them in. There's a section on your license plate where the sticker goes.
Okay.
And you just, if you're a smart person, you'll peel the old stickers off and put the new sticker there. But if you're me and everybody else in the county, you just keep piling stickers on in that same spot.
I mean, lazy, yes.
So yeah, I'm a big time sticker stacker when it comes to my tag. I've got several of them on my old junker.
Yeah, find that piece of paper now. Where did I put it?
Yeah.
I'll worry about it afterwards.
So yeah, I just wanted to tell this story because it drove me insane. And this whole road trip around town was made even more painful because the government.
Yeah, good old bureaucracy.
And it really is just bureaucratic nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, how can you people live with yourselves? If you're a bureaucrat in one of these systems, please send me an email. How do you sleep at night? Like how do you just not hate yourself? Ugh.
Causing a little bit of extra trouble for a person just, puts a little smile on their face. Really makes their day.
Yeah. This was not a particularly eventful trip. It was just my errands for the day, but for some reason, because the government was involved in so many pieces of it, it just stuck with me the rest of the week and just kind of put me in a bad mood.
Yeah, it do be like that.
So if you're wondering why I might have been a little grouch throughout the later half of the week, that's why. So yeah, other than that, the only there are 2 Vidget games I've been playing. I played one for an hour. But most of what I played was just going through Genshin and just explore a little bit more of Sumeru, see a little bit more of the story, make some progress. There was one day where Act 2 of Sumeru will sit you down and make you go through a big story section where you're stuck in Sumeru City the whole time. So that's the only major story progress I got. But it was much better than what they've offered before in Genshin for story. They definitely stepped it up in Sumeru. And the fact that we're going up against the equivalent of a bunch of Redditors at Harvard makes me smile. I'm looking very forward to bonking them on the head.
I remember somebody saying on, I saw a post online. I don't remember what the exact context was, but I remember seeing a post from someone on Twitter who'd gotten to the end of Sumeru storyline and said, "Wait, so if you mean we just walked up and bonked those guys from the very start, none of this would have happened?"
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably.
But yeah, they remembered that characters need to stick around for a minute to actually stick with the player. They remembered that you have to actually have a reason for your bad guys to be doing stuff, not just because Inazuma reasons. I'm not even going to spoil it, even though it's really, really dumb why the Raiden Shogun is the way she is.
What's
It's
that?
not just
Sumeru,
because bad guy.
Sumeru chapter is where you get all of that stuff turned up, is it?
Yeah, they finally got their act together with the main story. The one mark against Sumeru so far, they're 1.25 because it can be a positive or a negative for one of them. Well, the one that's iffy about Sumeru is just how big the place is. It's just huge, with a ton of underground caves. Like, a ton of underground caves. And a bunch of them are blocked off by side quests. So, you'll see one, and you won't be able to open it until you do a side quest. And it's just, the place is so freaking huge. The other one is the stupid gnome people quest.
Gnome people?
I've alternated between calling them mushroom people and plant people and tree people and gnome people. They're the weird forest race. And
yeah, because there's got to be one.
Yeah, their quest just keeps going. It took 2 weeks for me to get through their side quest chain. Like, I looked up later that people weren't kidding when they said that the stupid quest for those dudes after I finally got all of it was 20 hours long.
Yeesh.
But it's set up in such a, if you're a completion type person that likes to be sure you have access to as much stuff as possible while exploring around, and to get all the unlocks as early as you can, and to really thoroughly mow the lawn in areas, doing the Gnome People quest is kind of mandatory because it gives you I'll just spoil it. It gives you an ocarina from Legend of Zelda.
Dude.
And you learn songs for it that let you do things like turn on the little dendro particulates you need to open doors, or to open gateways that let you go into the dream realm at certain points to alter the world, or stuff like that. All right, I'm out of resin, so we can just do stuff you need now.
Think about
But yeah, they just keep going, and they just keep giving you more unlocks and more abilities for that stupid ocarina, and they just you're just full retard Legend of Zelda.
Well, I guess they've got to put it in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's not a bad quest. If the naming conventions for the characters had made more sense, and not all been some kind of like Nara, Vara, Varana, a whole lot of Annas, it bleeds together really hard. Then I would be more charitable to it, but I just could not for the life of me remember who the heck they're talking about, because none of this is voiced either, so you don't get to hear them say the names. So who the heck the stupid gnome's talking about gets really confusing when all the names are so similar. Like I already nickname everything for a reason, and am terrible with names, and man, they are just bad with their names in that quest. But if the names had not been so bad, I probably would say it's still a good quest chain worth doing. But it's just really hard to keep up with who's who, because all the gnome people have such stupid names. Actually, can I access Invol's World if I pull up the... Because they give you a notebook for this side quest chain to keep track of everything. Received this Arankya from Amara, from Nara Varuna. Araja says something. Ara Nara refers to humans as Nara and add Nara to their names when addressing I'm skipping around, but you can see how ridiculous the naming convention is and how it is hard to keep it straight.
Yes. But why though? Why make it so difficult?
I have no idea. But other than that, Sumeru has been just a treat going through it. If the size of the place doesn't intimidate you, it's a really good zone. It's even though it's big, it is functionally two zones. You got Sumeru the forest and Sumeru the desert, because there's a big F-off wall that's blocking the sandstorm from expanding into the forest. So you have big desert with deserty enemies. You have scorpions. You have scorpiouts, and you've got the forest side with the gnome people and mushrooms. A whole lot of mushrooms, some of which are way too tanky for their own good. I've never thought a mushroom could be tanky, but here we are. But yeah. And the Sumeru's main story, I want to keep going with it and might just pivot from my side quest adventure after the current chain. I'm on to because you go on a quest chain in the desert, but because the names are not as ridiculous and I can actually follow the story better, even though the characters are more annoying, I actually like it way better than Gnome People Quest to unlock abilities for your little tablet that you drag around to the pyramids that can turn on more ancient Egyptian Yu-Gi-Oh machines to solve more puzzles. There is one character, however, that has shown up in the main story who I just can't take seriously because it looks like he's got a Millennium artifact on his head.
I see.
Are we talking like Maximilian Pegasus level Millennium Artifact, or are we just talking the full-on pyramid puzzle?
He has the Millennium Hood.
Oh dear.
Let me see if I can find him. Character archive. Well, let me pull up. I could probably at least pull up his full model. Sino. Yeah, he's got the Millennium beanie
The Millennium Beanie, eh?
with Anubis ears on it.
Of course it does.
So yeah, but yeah, they totally so far. If they keep this pace going with Sumeru's story, into Fontaine, things are looking up. They remembered how to get you invested in characters. Like you get to the forest and you're having a little trouble acclimating. You meet Tainari and Kale at the ranger camp, and if this was Inazuma, that would be all that she wrote for those characters, and you would forget about them after their act is over. But no, they keep coming back and they remain being proper characters, even if they're just in the background and not the focus of the current act. And they have a proper mystery that they're drip feeding information to you as you're going. They have a proper set of antagonists that are established early. Who the motivators are and the actual actors is still left up in the air a bit, but they actually have a clear person that's doing bad thing or group of people that's doing bad thing. See Redditors.
Here is bad thing, stop bad thing doing.
Yeah, so it is a much better coherent story that just does a much better job of investing you in it. And as much as I said Act 2 just sits you down and forces you to sit in Sumeru City for 2 hours, it is still really good for storytelling, especially compared to the rest of the game. Like, it's solid storytelling on its own, but it's for Genshin, it's far and away the best they've done. So that's Sumeru. To get to Sumeru, though, you have to go through Inazuma, which, while the gameplay will be fine, I hope you don't want any story. Because aside from a few of the side quests, there ain't any.
Just nothing?
I mean, like...
Nothing meaningful.
I don't... A combination of writing incompetence and coof happened. Like, I don't know who wrote the Inazuma story, but they are very clearly not the same guy that wrote the Sumeru story. But yeah, Mondstadt story, very simple. I mean, I could... What did Maxor say about it? He could summarize it in one sentence. The dragon was mean, and then he was not. The end.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. Liyue is adventures with the broke god of money.
What?
It'll make sense when you get there.
He's not a very good god of money by the sound of it.
Yeah, and Liyue's fine. It has a bit of a stutter step pacing, but it's much better than Mondstadt for its story. Inazuma doesn't have a story. It acts like it's got something going on, and then nothing happens. Or rather, stuff happens. It just you don't know why because it doesn't make any sense. And then in Sumeru, they finally remember. Oh, right. There are actual elements to telling a good story. Maybe we should implement some of those.
Oh yeah, plot.
Oh right, characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because in Inazuma, if you do the story quests, like I've been going through and I've been doing, usually have enough time to log on and at least spot my commissions during the day, and that builds me up story keys so I can unlock story quests. And I've been going through the story quests. I'll let a pile of them build up and then chew through them. And when I got to the Inazuma ones, they clearly figured out where the problem was and tried to rectify a lot of Inazuma's problems with the story quests, especially Raiden Shoguns. But man, that main story, there's just nothing going on. I'm stretching, but
yeah,
that's where we're at with that.
I'm doing a stealth quest in here at the moment, and
oh
it's
yeah,
not very good.
No, they never are. Oh right, Inazuma has a couple of those. They're bad there too.
Like, there's no vision cones. There's no way to sneak or keep track of who's looking where.
Yeah, there's one in Inazuma I just kept failing and was like, this is BS.
Yeah.
There are two that I recall from memory. I think those are the only two. There might be one more.
It's not a stealth game. Don't put stealth missions in a not stealth game, please.
Thankfully, they are mercifully short sections of a single quest each. But yeah, I know the part in Mondstadt you're talking about. You're underneath the church.
I'm in the church basement. Yes,
You're getting the Holy Liar.
I am getting the Holy Liar because Venti.
There's a meme that goes around the Genshin community that is just a video clip of that section with big bold text that says mandatory stealth on it, and the YMCA tune playing, except instead of saying YMCA, it's just why.
I mean, oh, there we go. I got it. I stealthed by running quickly across people's field of vision. It's fine. That's how you do stealth, isn't it?
Yeah, I have not noticed any stealth missions in Sumeru. I've noticed two. There are two in Inazuma that I can remember. There might be a third one, but they are very mercifully short.
Oh, and I got caught anyway. Yay! Plot.
Yeah.
You have inverse plot armor.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess since I'm still stretching to fill time, since we don't really have any topics laid out, I can talk very, very briefly about the other game I bought. I scooped up Grand Blue Fantasy Relink after the reviews came in that the gameplay was pretty good.
I thought about it and I was like, "There's no way I've got time for that."
Yeah, they apparently.
That's why I haven't started playing Persona yet.
Yeah, they apparently fixed the region locking issue that happened at launch. That was apparently an accident where you could only party with people in your same download region in Steam, so people were flipping their download region to play with each other.
That's a very dumb thing to link it to.
Yeah.
Like,
this was a bug. It was not intended to be this way, so they fixed it.
Oh, good. That's good, because I tend to change my download limit depending on how much of a heart attack the current server is having.
Yeah, they this was totally by accident, so they fixed that with the latest patch.
Yeah.
And
look at Edgelord.
There's a few of those.
The Luke.
I'm not sure edgelord is the right word for Diluc.
Oh.
He's just Diluc.
He's Fujoshi bait.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
There is one story quest I did that is mega Fujoshi bait. Well, where was he? Story quests. Oh, he's in the completed ones now. That'll be in archives. He's golly, Miss Molly. I'm just check character archives to find his name. Kamisato Ayato. So, what's her name? Ayaka's brother. He is the most Fujoshi bait character in the game.
I suppose you do need some husbandos to balance out the waifus.
Well,
He
for
is-
it to be Fujoshi bait, that's not sufficient. It needs to be that there is another Bushi in close proximity to him.
Yeah, they make Toma to play
Okay.
that role with him. So yeah, there I don't need to go look it up to know there is much fan art from the fangirls of those two doing things.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, his story quest is he's actually a pretty cool character. And his gameplay style seems like when he came out, he must have been the most cracked thing on the planet. You don't hear much about him now, but his skill just he's a sword user that uses water, and when he uses his skill, it turns all his melee attacks into instant cast slashes with no recovery frames that now are ranged and do 100% splash damage.
Sword beam spam?
No, not sword beam. You just do a quick like unsheath and they explode with water.
Oh joy! That's actually kind of fun.
And you do it fast. Like I was like, holy crap, this guy must have been busted when he came out. But he's interesting. I won't spoil his story quest because they do play up his they do a better job with him making the smarter than you character, and they don't rely on his brain. They rely on his preparedness.
He's Batman.
It's more like he is in a position in the government to just have all these resources handy and can make the government do what he wants. So
he does have money. We can tell that already.
Well, he has influence, which translates to wealth in Inazuma, but
yes,
their wealth is less displayed than their clan's current status in that region. Though they do often correlate. So yeah, that he was fun. But yeah, I got distracted by your mandatory stealth section.
Yep, mandatory stealth over.
So yeah, you've got Grand Blue Fantasy versus not Fantasy versus Grand Blue Relink. What are you swimming to over there, Ball?
I need ley lines.
Oh dear.
I'm just trying to avoid anything that looks interesting.
I'll try not to trigger quests.
Yeah. Well, when they introduced the new region in this new patch that has just come out. They decided that this is technically part of the nation of Liyue, so I guess we can just relocate the ley lines out there into unexplored wilderness now.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah. So yeah. Grand Blue Relink. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It uses a character action type control scheme with lock-on modifiers, and that whether you're locked on or not will determine what some of your abilities can do for some characters, and it controls very decent. Thankfully, the default control layout is sensible because for some godforsaken reason on the PC version, they forgot to include the ability to rebind controls.
Yep. Why?
I don't know. And bubbles.
And bubbles.
But yeah, I'm only an hour in, so I've done the tutorial. Obligatory plot has happened. The Grand Cipher is a wreck, as it seems to always wind up at the start of every story. And
the Grand Cipher is sort of like it's constantly under repairs. I mean, it starts the story as a wreck and it ends up as a wreck again repeatedly throughout the course of events. Like it just appears to be its role in society is to get destroyed by things.
Yeah.
And end up constantly in dry dock.
So you end up with the obligatory the Grand Cipher and broke. We need more in town and repair it. And while we're doing this,
realistically, there's an awful lot of story that would just not happen if the Grand Cipher didn't keep getting destroyed.
Yeah. So you wind up in town, you explore the town, which is very clearly set up as a Monster Hunter style hub town.
Mm-hmm.
And fairly quickly you unlock quests, and you unlock and they keep their story quests separate from the quest board. So you accept what I'll call hunts. Oh, you already did this ley line. Let's see, where did Vol get off to? Oh, he's over. Going to the golden Liyue.
At least I hope I am. I forgot to track it, so I'm just guessing that I'm heading in the right direction.
But yeah, and yeah, you do Monster Hunter style mission selecting, and Ibu got it too. So we did a little bit of we did the first 3 missions you unlock at co-op, and they were fine. Pro tip: when you're playing the game, your talent points for your characters are not per character. They are for all your characters when you unlock a talent point, and your currency is shared between them. This can be a really good thing or a really bad thing. So
I heard a thing that was going around on the internet a lot on release day. People were saying you should not recruit optional characters until a certain event that causes them to be recruited at level 45.
Skip a lot of grinding.
Otherwise, you just have got to grind it through. And there's another level up at 60 where there was another level point where they'll join at 60, but apparently it's too far through the game to be worth it. So to just use the 45 as a benchmark.
Yeah,
I don't have any context for any of that, but it was going around a lot on release day.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't have the ability to recruit them yet. I can see them in the shop, and you need a character card to recruit them, but I don't have any character cards. So I've been playing Jita in the single player because it seems like the story was built to have your protag as your character you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure whether or not that's the case. In a sense, because based on my understanding of the story, the sort of like not quite romantic feelings between the two leads was sort of when Gran as the protagonist character seems to drive a lot of their motivations.
Yeah. So
But there's a lot of behavior, particularly in the early story of Grand Blue Fantasy, that doesn't make a lot of sense outside sort of a puppy love context.
Yeah. So it's in this game, Lyria is just like she's just Lyria.
Lyria is always just Lyria in every Grand Blue. There is no situation where Lyria is anything more than Lyria.
Yeah.
She's just this sort of weird accessory that you equip to use overwhelming power.
Yeah, I meant this less in the context of when we were talking about it a few weeks ago of Lumine and Aether, and more a context of protag and the entire rest of the cast. It seems like the story is set up to have protag of either protag as the player character, because you'll be walking around town, all the characters will be around for you to talk to, but if you're playing as one of them, they'll still be there, but it's a little weird when you're talking to them in town as themselves.
Yeah.
So I tried Rose, or what's her name? It's some variant of Rose. And yeah, I did not have the appropriate mastery points for my multiplayer session when I started with her. So I could not reposition her gimmick. Her gimmick as a character is she plants flowers. And these flowers will attack anything near them. And if you do a combo and end with any combo finisher, everybody inside of a flower's radius gets buffed. The problem is the enemies will hop all over the place, and she specifically about 12 or 15 mastery points into her tree gets an ability to reposition the flowers either on top of herself or on top of her locked on target. And if you don't have that, you're going to be sitting there replanting flowers the whole match. And not doing a whole lot. You're making a garden and uprooting your old garden to put it somewhere else. But with the flower reposition, you can just move the garden. So yeah, she was fun when I managed to get the flowers to work. But until I got that reposition thing, she was really hard to get to work. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've done. I've done the basic combat. Basic combat is X for your light attacks and or I say X, square for your light attacks and triangle for your combo finisher. And depending on your lock-on state, your movement state, so if you're dashing or dodging, it'll change the properties of these light attacks in your combo finisher and how many light attacks you stick in before the combo finisher. And that's your basic combo. You have skills that you just hold down right bumper to pull up the skill window, and you press a face button to shoot the appropriate skill. And the more melee attacks you weave in before doing the skill, the stronger the skill is. And you want to get as much juice out of these skills as you can, because they have fairly long cooldowns. But I haven't really unlocked any of the really intricate mechanics. I've unlocked Link attacks in Super Skybound Arts, but it was a tutorial that handheld me through it so hard I didn't have a chance to get a feel for it.
Ah, yeah, I hate tutorials like that. They're kind of pointless. They're like, it's just as good as telling you what to do and pushing you out the door. It's basically the same thing.
They're as bad as pop-ups.
Yeah. Like, you don't learn anything, really. You just, okay, here's how you do it, off you go.
Yeah. So yeah. That is pretty much all I've done for the game. It's I don't have a lot to talk about on it. I've got 1 hour of playtime in it. Maybe 2.
Yeah, that's all right.
So yeah, that's that. And that's it for my week. I've stretched as far as I can stretch.
All right, we should probably take a break then.
We actually don't have very much for news at all. So it might be better just to chop on through and call it an early show.
All right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot that really popped up. There is, of course, the ongoing localization thing, which is actually still going, surprisingly. Normally, this sort of thing dies down after a week or two.
Yeah, it's still going. Relink actually was one of the culprits that kept it alive this week.
Does it come with Japanese language option?
Yes, but that's not going to
Right,
save you
I
from the
don't think-
subtitles.
Yeah, that's also a
Yeah.
problem. But so
The
long as I can
subtitles
hear what's
are-
supposed to be said, I can muddle through.
So
Yeah, incidentally, it's a great incentive to learn another language.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not very many good ways of doing it. Like I've mentioned before that I've done the Duolingo thing, but it's not very well built in certain ways, and it basically
Mhm.
just results in you getting a lot of vocab without a lot of explanation for how the language is put together.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm played around with Duolingo as well, and I've actually jumped back on it again. I've started over, but yeah, it basically just feeds you words and phrases, but it's like only between large modules they give you maybe a couple of paragraphs of explanations to what you're actually doing.
I find that those explanations have also been very lacking. In
Very
fact,
lacking, yes.
they almost disappear entirely later on in the courses. So it's
Yes.
actually been quite frustrating. Basically, they are trying to give you the tools you need to ask where the toilet is if you visit that country. That's what they're really after. They're not actually
Yeah.
trying to teach you to speak properly.
yeah.
Like,
Which-
if you realistically, if you want to learn a language, the only real quote unquote way to do it is to have a conversation partner IRL.
Yes.
Not really any other way of doing it. But
Well, there's
I
another
mean,
way to learn
if you-
Spanish.
if you just want to get the gist of it, you can quite surfacely pick up some vocab there, but don't get any pretensions that you're going to learn the language from it.
Yeah. Like, even picking up a bit of vocab and you go through and watch, like, anime is a bad example because, from what I understand, the ways people speak in anime is completely different to how people conversationally speak.
Well, the thing is that you're not going to pick up on the changes in vocabulary due to the situation. Like, if
Yeah.
somebody switches from Keigo to casual speak or vice versa, you're not going to pick it up because to you it's all just vocab. It doesn't have cultural context.
Yeah. So, yeah, probably worth actually maybe looking into getting a proper teacher if you really want to learn a language. Don't just rely on Duolingo or anything like that. They're great as a supplementary tool, but if you want to learn properly, go get a teacher
If
or
you've
as a partner.
if you've had real lessons and you're being drilled in if you've got real lessons from a real teacher and you just want to drill in vocab, I'm sure it's a great. But like I've said in the past, like I abandoned learning Latin on it because I've learned Latin before and I use Latin on the regular for liturgical purposes, and it's just not the same. Like they just give you weird touristy type stuff, and you can't tour ancient Rome, so it sticks out even worse.
Yeah, that's a
But
bit of
yeah,
an odd choice.
These are not actually there's no situation where you need to use these phrases in Latin, because the only situation, like the only place where Latin is used anymore is Vatican City, as a spoken language, and then only pretty much in the Curia. Like,
Yes.
it's that's not what you need from Latin. When you learn Latin, what you need is to learn the vocabulary required to read the classics. It's not
Yes.
to learn to ask, what you did on your holidays or whatever. That's not useful.
That's not useful, no. But yeah, anyway, there's also the fact that I know you sent me a screenshot a while ago of Duolingo for Japanese, and for some reason, why was the word Mjolnir in there?
Yeah, it's not like your typical Japanese word, is it? It was probably topical because of a Marvel movie.
Probably, but it's like, yeah, you don't need to know the Japanese translation for Mjolnir, which is that still
It's
Mjolnir?
Mjolnir.
It should be the same. Is what?
It's Mjolnir, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be the same. So, just why? So anyway, that was a tangent.
Yeah, I have a different language that I have unfortunately been kind of forced to acquire piecemeal. And the bits of Spanish that I have learned, steal your sweet flowers. Oh, that one was a whopper flower. That's why I couldn't steal him. But I go to so many dang job sites and hang around so many people speaking Spanish all the time. You just start to
You say people speaking Spanish, but what you mean is Mexicans.
Yeah, you hang around so many dang Mexicans in the South all the time. If you're out on job sites, especially,
or if you're within 3 states of the border.
Yeah, you will just accumulate Spanish by osmosis.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I've heard the other really good way of learning a language is just immersion.
Like, it is...
Throw yourself in the deep end. But that's not really what you're going for there.
Like, I could not tell you any specific vocab that I have learned from Spanish, but if somebody started speaking Spanish in front of me, I could give you a pretty accurate ballpark idea of what they said.
Yeah. But anyway, learning another language is something I highly recommend just about everyone does. If you can. But because it's a great employment skill for one. But
I'm here to tell you that Latin doesn't improve your employment prospects very much unless you happen to be trying to become a priest.
Yeah, either the clergy or like academia, and that's about it.
Yeah, maybe if you wanted to become a classics scholar.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the most useful skill.
And an absolute stretch, archaeology. But
that said, most of what I know about English grammar comes from studying Latin, because in New Zealand the education system was having a bit of a moment when I was going through my formative years, where they didn't think they explicitly felt that learning grammar was a waste of time.
Yeah, I was born in the South. Grammar's more of a suggestion.
The South has its own grammar, and they think kittywampus is a word.
Yeah, y'all people got you some King's English or whatever.
Anyway, to bring us back onto topic, here's another not word. Fuckleducks. Right.
We can use that as a segue.
Hooray!
So
yeah, as an example of bad translations, we have Tokyo Xanadu X Plus, which is the Nintendo Switch version of Tokyo Xanadu EX coming out.
So they were updating the localization, though.
Yeah. It's
they managed to make it worse than its already legendary status.
I don't know. I don't know if it's come out yet. So I don't know what updated means, but it has helped keep the discussion firmly in the forefront of everything.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the articles we've got really don't actually say which way they're translating. They just basically say that they are changing it because of things like that, making it incredibly difficult for people to follow.
A weasel.
Which is a weasel word, yeah, actually, yes.
No, we literally are chasing a weasel.
I know, but it is also a weasel word. But it's like, yeah, it's saying characters saying fuckleducks instead of swearing, basically. And it's like, yeah.
I think that's worse than swearing.
I think that is worse than swearing, because it's just dumb.
It's not merely vulgar. It makes you look like a retard.
It's just so dumb.
So, a bit of history here. In the transitionary period from Exceed to Nisa, Tokyo Xanadu was, or rather, in the transition from Cold Steel 2 to 3 on the Falcom side, Tokyo Xanadu was made.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a spin-off, but it uses practically all the same assets as Cold Steel 1 and 2 with a few new character models for the main characters. Like you will wind up fighting Trail series monsters in the dungeons, just ripped whole cloth. This was a just for funsies time killer project while they waited for the new engine to be built.
Nothing wrong with that.
And it is okay. It's not remarkable. I don't think it was ever supposed to be. But for what it is, it's fine. It's an okay time killer on Falcom's end. And when this came over for localization, Exceed was in the process of handing over the reins to Nisa, and they were still. I'm not sure who got this or how, but it was not the usual localization team at Exceed. I think, if my memory's a little fuzzy on this. But basically what happened was a bunch of newbies got a hold of this thing and just did whatever the heck they wanted to localize it, and it was a total disaster. A meme-tastic, just awful localization. And a bunch of the screenshots you've seen going around with them criticizing the Trail series for its localization. And it does have a few shoes. It does have its moments. Its localization is not anywhere close to perfect, especially the Nisa translated games. Although the Sky ones are pretty dang close. Those are about as good as you're going to get.
Anything involving Geofront.
Yeah. They're lumping Tokyo Xanadu in as a Trails game, when the Trails games all had nowhere near this level of meme-tastic disaster.
Yeah.
Ooh, treasure chest. But, so yeah. The original Tokyo Xanadu is just a meme for its localization and its translation in general, not just its localization. It's just bad. And you wonder how the heck they thought this was a good idea. Steal your pine cones. Can't stop me. I'll take a picture of them. So yeah. Thanks to I guess I can stand on it. I can go get it. But so yeah, that's where that comes from. So the fact this is getting re-localized isn't surprising, especially given
How many E's are on that re?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it remains to be seen whether it will be it's an improvement or even worse, because it could really go either way. The current localization industry could one up themselves and somehow manage to outdo.
That's below Fuckle Ducks. Like that's a pretty stern bar to overcome there.
Yeah. That said, I'd like them to leave one in there at least, just as a callback.
No, just
no. I would rather see the vanity of the people who put things like that in Purged. Like,
oh yeah,
because that's what will hurt them more than anything else, is to see their grand legacy unraveled. Like to be told that everybody has nothing but contempt for you and everything you stand for.
Yeah. On that topic, Sega backed the wrong horse, and they're being told precisely that.
Historically speaking, is it not that Sega always backs the wrong horse as a matter of policy?
I swear they do it on purpose. Like, they just hate money and success. So there was a big article that came out in the Japanese, the Tokyo Times. Anyway, one of the Japanese newspapers.
You can do it, Clee. I believe in you.
Localization industry. And Sega decided to repost it, and promptly got chewed to pieces by everybody on social media. So that was a fun little experience. But
I'm going to go invade
yeah,
Furnace
even
World
had
now.
no, my mushes.
I'm not going to steal your mushes. I don't need your mushes.
I don't need mushes either yet.
Paul might steal your mushes.
Well, no, because you always get Barbara, right?
Yeah. Oh, so he does need the mushes.
So yeah, so he technically does need mushes.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that was a fun thing.
You're in a domain or something. We can't join.
Yeah, I'm doing a quest dungeon.
So let us know when you're out. We'll come invade you at the end of the show.
Had Deluke as a guest.
Oh, so you got to press the skill button 3 times.
Yeah. It's like press skill button, press skill button, press skill button again. You do all the flippy doos, and that's it.
Yep. You got bumped up in that tier for plunging attacks. In the not yet happening plunging attack meta, he can make a comeback.
If there's one thing that the Genshin Impact content creator community is good at manufacturing other than drama, it's metas that never actually come to exist.
Yeah. Huh. Considering they only stole this lyre like half an hour ago, they've got an extremely elaborate storage facility for it.
How do I close
Anyway.
the chat window? Because that's going to get us banned.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Why do you have it open in the first place?
I don't know how to erase previous messages, so...
It's just... bear with me.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to remove a certain reference from my chat box.
Oh no.
I think I just deleted my entire chat access. Oh no, there it is.
Would that be a bad thing? So, what other little newsletters are out there? 'Cause there's only a lot of little stuff this week.
My thing was the Tokyo Xanadu thing.
Yep.
I guess I can go ahead and get it out of the way. MatPat's finally going away. Y'all may not care, but this dude has seemed to sneak in to corners of just miscellaneous junk that I participated in, like the Shantae Kickstarter. His community got really involved in that and made a total nuisance of themselves in it on the forums for that game when it was still being developed. And just in general, this guy is a huge tool who has just appeared in miscellaneous YouTube videos of people I've watched occasionally, and I just hate his smug face. And I hate every time he shows up, and he's finally retiring. I'm like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. So I didn't look too deep into it. It's like, MatPat's gone.
I don't care why. I just want to put a nice firm boot on the grave of his career. I don't care why. I'm just glad that he's gone.
There's some YouTube drama, but So yeah, that's that. There was like the little brief argument of Wizards of the Coast or possibly just D&D being up to sale for Tencent this week, but then Hasbro came out and said, no, we're not.
Yeah, they shut that down pretty quick.
Whether or not it's true or not will remain to be seen, because they don't, even if it is true, they wouldn't want word getting out before anything's signed. Because, people might actually have renewed confidence in somebody else actually owning those properties.
I'm not sure I have renewed confidence if Tencent's involved at all. But
no, but could they be worse than Hasbro?
This is an interesting question.
It is an interesting question.
It's not really a matter of degree, it's a matter of kind. Like, the sort of horrors that they would bring would be a different type.
Yes. It's a different flavor of terrible. So, yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro is trying to offload at least part of Wizards. They've been driving into the ground often enough, and they're just desperate for money at this point, so we'll see.
Yep. And
But, meanwhile, I'm not going to play D&D. I'm going to find a different system to play.
Oh, Vol found the stickers.
All right. What's next? Anything else?
Vol found this thing on in WoW, but I don't know much about it.
I
It's
don't
a
know a great deal about it either, but apparently they are selling a recolor of a particular outfit, and for some reason, everybody is purchasing it. I think even Seraph has commented on this.
yeah. It's a witch costume.
I'm at a loss. It was not. I did not bring it up really to be a news article because I was just sort of a bit flabbergasted, generally speaking.
Yeah. So it's just a thing. It's just a lot of things this week. All right.
I don't think that there was anything particularly meaty about it as far as things to discuss. I don't think I'm trying to think if I. Unfortunately, my news feed has been filled up with Genshin drama ever since algorithms for YouTube and for Twitter and all that. They've figured out that I'm playing Genshin. All of a sudden, I need to know about every single personal fracas that any given two or more Genshin content creators get involved in. I just don't care. Like,
Yeah.
please go away.
Genshin content creators love their drama. Just
Made me aware of stickers.
The only other tiny little article I've got is Nintendo Switch Online is adding Golden Sun and Golden Sun Lost Age. Because you can't play one without playing the other. You've got to play them both. So, yeah. If you want some really good old school JRPG, there you go.
I love the old Golden Sun games.
Yeah. I'm disappointed there hasn't been a remake, but considering what happens to remakes these days, I'm not overly concerned.
There are a lot of stickers here.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
Start sending them to Fern.
No, I don't want your rubbish.
Sino, the guy I was talking about before, he literally has a sticker called Duel.
As in... Is that a Yu-Gi-Oh reference?
It has got to be a Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
How many Ds are on that duel?
Only one, but still, I just sent you the sticker.
Okay, I'm in a cutscene, so I can't look at it.
Oh, that's the guy you're talking about. Yeah, I immediately thought he was a Yu-Gi-Oh character as well.
Alright, I'm just... Venti, shut up. Oh, hang on. We're doing a thing now. But yeah, I don't like Venti. He needs to just shut up.
He is the drunkest of gods.
He is a useless god. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's about it for news.
Yeah, I'm now thoroughly distracted by these stickers.
You are
Yeah.
easily amused, aren't you?
You're just now figuring this out?
Yeah. Oh wow, that's blatant. That's got to be a piss take. A game called Stumble Guys. It's characters running through a maze made of PVC in a television set.
That one was I recall that existing.
Yes.
I thought it was called Stumble Chums.
It's Stumble Guys, apparently. Stumble Chums would actually be a cool name. Let's go with that. But, yeah, it just looks... You're not even trying, are you guys? You're just ripping things off now, aren't you?
Yeah, so do either of you have any particularly strong intentions of actually playing the Persona 3 re-release?
Eventually, but
When-
not right now.
As time
Really low
allows.
on my list. Like, because I don't trust anybody to produce good games anymore. I'm immediately suspicious of everybody's intentions.
Yes.
Like, what have you done to the story? What have you taken out to make it more suitable for quote modern audiences unquote?
Yeah, the old grey... Let's make it grey paste for the modern audience.
Apparently, they removed the gay men chasing Junpei during Operation Babe Hunt.
Oh, that was funny. I mean, Junpei deserves basically everything he gets. Let's
I
face
don't
it.
understand what possible cogent argument you could make for doing such a thing. I know they don't require one. It's like,
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that there are no sexual predators that hang around on beaches preying on high school children?
That might be the reason why.
I
Let's
mean,
just not acknowledge that.
Well, it would be really inconvenient if everybody was suspicious that they might be around, wouldn't it?
It would be.
For them. So, on what side are the people here who are trying to remove the suspicion from people that this may in fact be a scenario?
yeah.
Because this is like sort of the VeggieTales version of actually getting preyed on in a public area where your guard is down.
You declined me, Fern.
I just got out of the cutscene. That's you? Yeah, that's you. Okay.
As
In
we
that case,
as we put more distance between Navia's release and Onward, I will eventually become the only Navia on your friends list or on your random invites across the top of the screen.
I don't
yeah,
think that's the case. I think
I'm seeing
that-
a lot of travelers and a lot of, well, basically whoever's on the current banner.
I see Wanderer all the time.
I see
Okay.
mainly what's her name? The new girl from Fontaine.
Farina.
Yeah, Farina. I see mainly Farina.
I see a ton of her too.
Yeah. Anyway, we should probably wrap up
Alrighty.
because we're just rambling at this point.
Yep. All right, folks. Kind of a light show this week since we're all kind of burnt and Ball is sick. So yeah. You can look at a badminton while we sign out. So, all right, you got anything for us to send us out?
I am very concerned about that stopping animation with on Vol's character.
Oh, it's the same for
Bring it.
all of them. I will come.
It's let's just say that's quite inappropriate for a small child.
Yeah,
See?
all small females do it.
They all wear very modest Victorian underwear that ensures that there is nothing hazardous exposed.
Yes.
I'm playing hopscotch.
I'm
I
sure
think
that it's somebody's fetish, but that's everything is. So
You
Big
can't
poofy underpants is.
you can't account for literally everything. So, here are our 5-star midgets.
where is Baron Bunny? Bring out Baron Bunny.
And bring back Baron Bunny.
Our midgets want to play with Baron Bunny.
There you go.
Play with Baron Bunny in the Matrix.
Oh, why?
All right, folks.
It's like a little bit of sensory overload.
Yeah, our birds do that. All right, folks. We will see you next week. Sayonara. Bye-bye.